Many thanks for being there. Let's head to South Africa, where the National Prosecuting Authority has confirmed that the man and woman who were shot and killed while walking towards the Randburg Court gate were witnesses in a 2018 assault case against 4 police officers. The deceased woman, a domestic worker, had accused the officers of torturing her while they were investigating a burglary at her employer's home. The officers were charged with assault with intent to grievous bodily harm, and this is not the first case of witness assassination in the country. Earlier this year, another witness was shot and killed in Cape Town, with many others who have been silenced across the Rainbow Nation. Now, joining me live from Pretoria for more on this is Williem. He is the Senior Training Coordinator at the Institute for Security Studies. Williem, it's nice to have you around.
Good afternoon to you.
Now, we hear that this is not the first time we will be seeing witnesses being assassinated in South Africa. How common are situations like this, most especially for witnesses who have detailed information that might assist in judging a particular case being sniffed, with their lives being sniffed out? How common is this, and why is it rampant in the country?
Yes, in South Africa it is fairly common, and not all the cases reach the public media, and that is the problem. But it's not only the witnesses that are being intimidated; it is also a matter of the investigators that are being targeted. Recently, we saw one of the lead investigators in a major case, the Onabanjo case in South Africa, who was assassinated while investigating this case. So it's quite violent, and we see that's a lot of intimidation going on in order to prevent law and order to take its course.
We're seeing that investigators are being attacked, witnesses are being attacked. Does it have to do with the people involved with such cases, how sensitive they are, or the kind of cases that is actually triggering this kind of attack on key witnesses or key players in situations like this? I'd like to know.
Well, in this case, there were 4 police officers that were actually accused. We also saw recently in the Mpumalanga area where an investigating officer was assassinated because of his investigations into wildlife crimes. So it varies. There's a lot of money at stake in some of these cases, and that is why this is ongoing. But also in this case, as we said, it's 4 police officers that were standing trial for the assault GBH, but also what we saw afterwards, the court has ordered at the request of the prosecution that all their firearms being confiscated to be tested, as well as that their hands must be swabbed for tests to see if there are any gun residue on them, not indicating that they are actually suspects, but just to exclude them as suspects for this case.
Well, Williem, as a former police officer and one who has worked on assassination cases, how broad is this crime network? Because, of course, we want to understand maybe there are compromises, maybe there are people who exchange values in terms of monies, or there are situations or people that enable this kind of assassination attempts on people's lives. How broad is it?
It is extremely broad. If you see, for instance, if you look at your election time coming up, we see with every election, just before the election, a lot of the candidates, especially from certain political parties, are being assassinated here in South Africa. They've even got a special name for these people. They call them the Nkabis, and they are gangs, organized crime gangs, that are being rented out in order to settle these disputes for as little as a few hundred or a few thousand rand. Transnational organized crime in South Africa is currently completely out of control. We can see that the police is battling to keep up with that. We can see also, for instance, in the illegal mining sector, the military has been called in to assist the police because the situation was just getting out of control.
So if I let you go, Williem, you know that assistance or collaborations like that might not be enough. As an in-man who understands the terrain and how this works, what probable solutions would you prefer to ensure that investigators, witnesses, prime suspects, not even prime suspects now, we're talking about key witnesses in cases like this, are protected What can be done to ensure that they are protected and these cases see a logical conclusion?
Ideally, we would have to have all these possible witnesses that are under threat to be taken up in the witness protection program. South Africa does have a witness protection program, but the sheer volume of all the cases in South Africa currently before court and being investigated is just impossible for them to protect every single witness that may be under threat. So that's why we see that there's a process that is being gone through before being decided what witnesses will be placed under protection. But also the same goes for your investigating officers. You know, we have to protect our investigating officers, especially with the organized crime activities that are being investigated. Also, the gang-related activities that are being investigated. A year or two ago, we lost one of the senior investigating officers down in Cape Town that was investigating some of the gangs there. So it is a real problem in South Africa.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So what about the legal system in South Africa? How well are they going about ensuring justice, whether or not there's a compromise on the sides of those who may feel affected by cases like this? Would you say that the judicial system in South Africa is optimal and cannot be compromised when we talk about ensuring justice for victims of sensitive cases like this?
Unfortunately so, the legal system is also being targeted by these gangs. There's a lot of money going around. So yes, they are not exempted from that. But what we also notice is that with our judiciary, they are under severe stress with this sheer amount of cases, but also a lot of their senior prosecutors that are leaving for private practice. So we see that there's a skill shortage within our National Prosecuting Authority in order, especially your more complex cases, to prosecute that. So the sheer workload of these people is just tremendous. And the same goes for your investigating officers. Our detectives are running around with sometimes with several 50, 60, 70 cases that they have to investigate simultaneously, and that is just impossible. So what happens now is that these cases are being reported, the complainant get a case file number and that they can use for insurance purposes, and then if there's no lead or nothing that they can go on with ISA or with on-site value, then they would close this case and file the case file. And that is really unfortunate because justice is simply not being served to the public of South Africa.
Williem Els, Senior Training Coordinator at the Institute of Security Studies, thank you so much for educating us.
You're welcome.